So you had your heart smashed, but you want her back. You're thinking, oh no, this isn't over yet. You want that chance to talk things out and you're waiting impatiently for that phone call from her. Or maybe you're still talking to or hanging out with her every once in a while, hoping that you can get her back that way. If this sounds like you, you've clicked on the right episode. Welcome back, boys. Today we're going to cover step by step what you should do right after the breakup and how to handle it if she decides to reach out to you in any way. This can be a tricky situation that, if handled improperly, can just restart the same cycle and then eventually throw you back into the same state that you're in now. So, good day, gentlemen. This is your coach speaking. I have illuminated the fasten seatbelt sign. Please take a seat and strap your asses in. This is going to be a turbulent episode. All right, we're going to pin the throttles and do a vertical takeoff here with this first concept. Whenever you get broken up with, no matter if it's your fault or not, the absolute first thing you should do is walk away and go no contact. If you're still talking to her in any way right now, unless she is clearly showing that she wants to try and fix things, and unless, of course, you want to keep it platonic and just stay friends, cut that shit out now. I've seen the following happen with a lot of guys, myself included. If you're the type of guy who doesn't give up, if you're the type of guy who goes for what he wants, you're probably thinking, hey, I committed myself to her. That means I'm willing to do whatever it takes to fix this thing, and I need her to see that. I want you to pause for a second. While on one hand, yes, commitment to her is a wonderful virtue. On the other hand, if she has decided that you are no longer worth it, and you are still texting her, calling her, trying to get her to see just how committed you really are, this will repel her away from you. Persistence in this manner will push her away. She's already determined that she doesn't want you for whatever reason. It's kind of like a pushy salesman calling you every day after you made it perfectly clear that you don't want to buy his car. It repels you away from him and you may pursue other dealerships. So yes, if this is you, you need to cut it out. But, of course, if she does come back, you can turn that commitment switch back on, and we're going to outline what that looks like here in a bit. And boys, keep in mind, as shitty as this might seem at first, cutting all contact, there are good possibilities on the horizon that may surprise you, and we're going to go into that as well. Anyway, there are many reasons for going no contact, but the most important reason has to do with you. It's to let go of the connections to her in your brain. Our brains are constantly creating new connections and severing old, unneeded ones. Every time you send a text or talk to her or send a funny meme or anything at all, you get hit with a little bit of that oxytocin, which is the love chemical, and vasopressin, which is the commitment chemical. But when you look up from your phone and she's not there, those chemicals go away and you're right back to square one. It's kind of like a recovering drug addict getting a tiny hit to lift them out of the withdrawal that they're in for a few seconds, only to plunge them into a deeper hole shortly afterwards. In turn, the connections in your brain that have integrated your life into hers stay connected. But obviously, that's not helpful to you if you're trying to move on and reground yourself. This cycle of staying in contact will keep you distracted from not only healing, but also distracted from your goals and other ideal partners that you may come across. It basically detracts from the main point of this podcast altogether, the ground up work that comes from rebuilding yourself. This may be the darkest time in your life, but it is also your golden opportunity to finally start building towards the life you want. And yeah, the best way to do that is tough, but it involves you letting go of those things in your life that are no longer suited to your growth. You want to commit yourself to the things that are consistent and reliable in your life, like your goals, your passions, and your mission. You are in full control of that. You are not, however, in control of her decisions. Her coming back is not something that you can rely on. Therefore, you need to see any investment of your time and energy into her as not worth it. Unless, of course, she is clearly showing that she wants to try again. Let's start from the beginning of this timeline. The research that I've done shows that if a woman is going to reach back out, she will typically do so in the 3 to 8 week mark following the beginning of no contact. That means from the instant you stop communicating with her, she is most likely to reach back out to you in 3 to 8 weeks, again, if she decides to do it. Obviously, for you newly single dads out there, safe to say the only comms you should have with her are logistical items as far as the kids go and other business items. Again, as long as there's no chit chat, no reminiscing, nothing past the bare essentials. Set firm boundaries regarding what the conversations are. And if it was me, one of those boundaries would be comms via text only. This eliminates you having to hear her voice and thus bring back old feelings. Yes, a good chunk of this episode is about no contact, but for all the single dads out there, just consider your version of no contact a strictly business only contact. What happens if you don't go no contact? Well, there are multiple things that can happen, but here are the 3 most important ones to keep in mind. Number 1, I'm going to be blunt here. If you're still in love with her and the 2 of you are still in contact, you are never going to start healing. You may even become obsessively attached to any sort of interaction you can have with her. After one breakup, I would call out of work just to hang out with my ex for 20 minutes. Not healthy. We have to start severing those connections in our brain, and they will never start breaking until you stop interacting with her. And number 2, some of you have already experienced the following or know someone who has. And what I'm about to say is not a dig on women in general. I've seen plenty of guys do this too. When you're still in contact with her, you're both getting some of those good feelings back, temporarily. But you run the risk of being in that emotionally vulnerable state when she gets a new boyfriend. And at that point, all she has to do is say, "Hey, I've been seeing someone else. I'm so sorry, but we can't be talking anymore." And now look where you'd be. Still in that limbo stage, getting some good feelings, and then coupled with the pain of not being together, and then boom, she goes no contact on you, and now you have to deal with new crappy feelings of her being with a new dude. If, let's say, you spent the last 2 months talking to her on and off, not really healing anything or working on yourself, only to find out that it was for nothing, might you start wondering what you could have done instead in those 2 months? Trust me when I say this, boys, that is a much tougher place to start rebuilding. And number 3, if you stay in contact, the chance of her coming back is super slim. Now, I know this seems counterintuitive, as you're probably thinking that by staying in contact, you'll stay on her radar, and maybe she needs another reminder that, hey, I'm still here and available, just waiting for you. This does the opposite. If she knows what you're up to, where you're spending your time and with whom or how you're feeling, and no doubt that she can hear that in your voice, then there's nothing for her to worry about. She knows you're not dating other chicks, you're not moving forward, you're not moving on, you have become predictable. She can sleep soundly at night knowing that you won't be sharing your love with someone else, and that's something that would probably hurt her a lot. Make no mistake. And yes, she may not be saying to you that she still misses you, but there's a good chance she probably is, even if she was the one who broke it off. Guys, staying in contact with someone who doesn't want you anymore is like getting fired from a job and then showing up the next day just to say hi to your old boss. What happens when someone gets fired? It means the employer has decided that person is no longer worth their time. Same concept with getting dumped. If she dumped you, that's basically her saying, yeah, dude, you're no longer worth my time or my love. So why would you try to save your heart for her? Here's a quick bonus number 4. If you stay in contact, you may miss opportunities to meet and date new girls who would be a perfect match for you. This has happened to me and other guys I know a lot. You know, you're still wrapped up in trying to get her back. A new girl walks right in, but we just think, yeah, no thanks. I'm saving myself for my ex. All that time and energy spent on trying to get the ex back could have been better spent on a new girl who sees, loves, and appreciates you for exactly who you are. And believe me, when I said no to those new opportunities and then my ex started dating a new dude, I was kicking myself thinking of how I said no to other women in that time. Not a good feeling. All right, we're almost at cruising altitude, and I want to remind you guys, yes, breaking contact is tough. It hurts. It stings. It will most likely make you feel worse temporarily. But remember, you are a badass. Badasses always do what is necessary, no matter the pain that comes with that decision. In this time, you need to make plans with friends and family. The number one way to help you get through this time is to be around people. We human beings are social creatures. Don't give yourself solitary confinement. Make plans, talk to your buddies on the phone, or call your parents, extended family, whatever. Social engagement is what will keep you from feeling worse. All right, brothers, let's take a breath as we level off here at the badass altitude of 80,000 feet. We're going to talk about the other side of no contact in terms of what's going through her mind. All right, feminine psychology time. When you break contact, this is what is going to most likely start happening in her mind. When she realizes that you have indeed walked away and are not looking back after she closed the door on you, reality is going to hit her like a ton of bricks. Very soon after, she's going to realize, oh shit, this guy just walked away as if nothing happened. It's like he's not even fazed by this. And then the questions are going to start coming up. Why does he not want to talk to me? Is he mad at me? Does he not care about me anymore? What is he up to? Is he moping around missing me, or is he hanging out with his buddies? Is he still sitting on the couch or going to the gym and getting sexy again? And what if he's dating someone else? Feminine energy is affected heavily by feelings of uncertainty. I guarantee most of you guys have had a girlfriend or wife get jealous at a female friend of yours or ask about a female coworker or something to that effect. And you think to yourself, why is she jealous? She has nothing to worry about. She sees me every day and I've already committed myself to her in this relationship. Guys, this is just her in her feminine energy, and she wants, or rather needs, the external reassurance that you are indeed not having feelings for other women and that other women aren't trying to worm their way in between the two of you. When you go no contact, she becomes unsure, and there's a very good chance those questions will start coming up. Pop quiz. Are women more attracted to men who they know are in love with them, or men who are unclear in their feelings towards them? Well, there's one study called He Loves Me Not. Uncertainty can increase romantic attraction. This is out of volume 22 of Psychological Science. The researchers took a bunch of female undergrads and had them rate different men according to pictures of them along with what those men thought of them. The administrators basically said, okay, these guys over here like you a lot, these ones like you a little, but for these guys over here, they either like you a lot or a little. You'll find out after the study. In other words, their attraction towards the participant was uncertain. And wouldn't you know, the women rated the guys that were uncertain as the most attractive, way higher than the guys who, quote, liked them a lot. And that was the only factor. It didn't even matter what the guys looked like. What does that tell us? Women are more emotionally engaged into guys who haven't given her a sign as to how they feel about her. So let's really think about this, boys. If you're in contact with her, reminiscing, or even if you're still hooking up, she knows you're still in love with her. If you aren't in contact, she's going to start second guessing that. But let's look at this from her perspective again. Right now, she's alone too. There's a good possibility, unless you're still in contact, that she's missing the feeling of having you around. And yeah, even if she pinned the reasons for the breakup on you, she's going to start reminiscing on the good times. She's going to start thinking of what could have happened if you guys worked things out. She's going to start realizing where she fell short on the intimacy or communication. She may very well be thinking of these things even if she is still mad at you for whatever reason. Now we can understand why women typically reach back out in the 3 to 8 week mark following the start of no contact, if they choose to do so. And boys, this has happened in every instance of me getting dumped. Sometimes I broke contact right away, sometimes I foolishly stayed in contact, but as soon as I broke it, like clockwork, I would get that text in a few weeks that says, hey. Again, is this a guarantee that she will come back? No. But the odds are way better in your favor if you sever that tie right now. Side note, guys, As badasses, the only reason we need to go no contact is to start cutting our emotional connection to her and start refocusing on rebuilding ourselves. If you're only going no contact in hopes of manipulating her into getting you back, this is not a good way to go. While yes, she may come back, she's going to come back to the same dude. And as a result, the two of you will most likely end up breaking up again for the same reasons, because neither of you improved. The reason the badass has success in this area is that he is setting new goals for himself and rebuilding his self-esteem, confidence, drive, motivation, everything. So he's not concerned about getting her back, and she is no longer someone he has to put his time, energy, and money into anymore. This is refocusing everything back onto yourself. Yes, it may suck if she doesn't at first, but the badass only goes where he is wanted. Anything else is a waste of time. If anyone in his life closes the door on him, he just turns and keeps walking. He knows that any time trying to get that person back is time he could have spent cultivating new friendships or dating new girls until he finds one who sees and appreciates him for exactly who he is. But if his ex does come back and he lets her back in, she will come back to a better man, guaranteed. And yes, the badass will also take that time to really think about if he even wants her back. The best way to do this is to make a list of things that you liked in her and a list of things you didn't like. It may be hard if you're still in withdrawal, but if you sit down with intention and try to be as objective as possible, this will do two things very well. Number one, it'll give you an opportunity to reflect on how good or bad she was for you. And that way, you don't just blindly ignore her if she comes back or blindly jump right back into a relationship that isn't going to work out. Number two, it's going to give you insights into blind spots in the relationship. You may write down something that you didn't even realize was an issue. This will give you some things to talk to her about if you guys do start dating again. And of course, we need to give her room to talk about her issues with you so you can decide if those things can be fixed. All right, so with all this info in mind, now let's talk about what to do if she does reach out and you've decided, with your list in mind, of course, that you would take her back if you guys could work things out. Again, don't be surprised if this takes a while. If she reaches back out and you can tell it's more than just a logistical thing for you single dads, the first thing you should do is plan a date. Yes, a full-on date, just like you did in the very beginning of the relationship. And minimal to no chit-chat while you're planning this with her. Say something like, "Hey, it's good hearing from you. We should grab dinner soon. When are you free?" Now, this may seem a bit forward, and it totally is. This is most likely going to catch her by surprise. She may hesitate and say something like, I don't know if this is the right time, or I don't know, I don't think I'm game for that right now. She may also say something like, I was just calling to see how you're doing, or I just wanted to talk about this or that. And if she responds like this, all you have to say is, well, I want to hear about how you're doing too, and talk about those things. Why don't we talk about it at dinner? I'll take you to our favorite place. Or you can do the takeaway if she balks and say something like, okay, no worries. I totally understand if you're not ready. I'd still love to take you out just like old times though. So when you're ready, why don't you let me know? And then go from there. And by go from there, I mean get off the phone. Don't be a dick about it. Just keep it short and sweet. Make sure the last thing she hears is that you want to take her out and to let you know when she's ready. This will give her room to make her own decision. Remember, love is freedom. You want her to feel free. If you try to control her or to convince her to come back, she's going to slip through your fingers and is going to push her away. She needs to feel free to make her own decision. While she's making this decision, this also might take a while. So be freaking patient. Don't send a follow-up text. Don't send anything. Just do the badass thing and immediately turn around and go back to rebuilding yourself. If she tries to reach out with another innocuous thing again, just bring up the date idea again. Just rinse and repeat. Now, I know some of you are thinking, yeah, Chris, that is a bit too forward. I know her really well. She's not going to be game for that. Well, what would the alternative be? To keep texting and talking to her some more to warm her back up or something? That's a really quick way into the friend zone. And again, just prolongs getting rid of those connections in your brain and working on rebuilding yourself. That's basically just hoping that she'll be down for a date. Remember, she needs to know that you want to reestablish that romantic connection with her, and that is extremely hard to do if you acquiesce to her just wanting to chit-chat in hopes that you'll get her back that way. And speaking of acquiescing, if she broke things off with you when you didn't want to break up and you still love her and want to be romantic with her again, and you just give in to her wanting to keep you on a thread with chit-chats and texts and stuff, that doesn't sound like a guy who knows what he wants. If you want to be her number one, you will not do the pen pal thing. You will not do the friend thing. You will not be a backup option. And most importantly, you will not be her little emotional support toy until she comes across a new dude who is direct and ballsy enough to get her on a date, and thus give her all sorts of new good feelings that she won't need from you anymore. So decide for yourself, do I want to be her boyfriend again or nothing at all? If the answer is yes to being her boyfriend again, you need to be consistent on that and be truthful to yourself. Agreeing to just be friends when you are still in love with her is just you lying to yourself. But of course, if you just want to be friends, then just do the friend thing. There's no shame in that. The only thing I want for you, my brother, is to stay true to what you want in your heart. So again, the chit chats are a no-no. Go for the freaking date. Otherwise, no problem. Just go back to being badass. She's welcome to come back if she likes. And if she says yes, awesome. Still keep it short and sweet though. Set the time, day, and place, or keep the location as a surprise if you're feeling ballsy. And then you go pick her up. Remember, if you want her back, you want her to get the same feelings of dating you for the first time. It's all about reigniting the romance and you leading her there. All right, so when you're on this date, don't just start firing off things from your list. In fact, just don't even mention it. Bring it up another time. Give her some room to talk about things. Ask her open-ended questions about how she's doing, how her family is, etc., and give her all of your attention. In fact, here's a quick list of things you should not do on this date. Don't brag about all the new badass things you're doing. Don't talk about other women you're dating. Don't ask her if she's dating anyone else. And for the love of all that is holy, do not tell her how you can't stop thinking about her or you do anything to get her back or any of that needy shit. You are on this date to reestablish a romantic connection with her, and it's up to you, the man, to make it fun and exciting. So talk about appropriate subjects. If she does start talking about your guys' issues, then it might be okay. At this point, just be smart about things and be open and attentive. Enjoy her company again and treat her how you know she deserves to be treated. Our next point here on this has to do with you and the life that you want to rebuild. Hopefully by this time, you've been planning on what you want to do in the future for yourself. Hopefully you've taken action on some things that you want to change about yourself or at least come up with a game plan. Maybe you're back in the gym, going for a promotion, or starting a new hobby. Maybe you're moving somewhere else. Regardless of what you've been planning for this new chapter in your life, boys, you need to determine if her coming back will be able to fit in with that. And this is a super important point. The good, healthy things you're doing for yourself must not take a back seat to her or even a new girl that you start dating. Your goals and mission come first. Relationship comes second. How do you let her know this? When you feel the time is right, when you guys start getting serious about restarting the relationship, let her know what's up as far as how she could fit into the new life you're creating for yourself. To give you guys an example, I'm going to pull from a conversation I had with an ex a while back, shortly after we broke up. We met for coffee, and she brought up getting things going again. I'd used some of that time to think about what I wanted to do after college, and one of those things was jumping into the local music scene and trying to support myself being a full-time musician. I told her this was my plan, and she asked if I was going to get a regular job. And I flat out told her, no. I wanted to grind and play in 3 bands full-time along with tours and studio gigs, which meant I'd be working basically from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Wednesday through Sunday. I was actually talking to 3 other musicians about all 4 of us moving into a cheap rundown house that only had 3 bedrooms. And she said, so you're basically going to do the starving musician thing? And I said, yeah. She then told me how she wanted to do the 9 to 5 job thing and have the weekends off. But anyone who's done the starving musician thing knows your weekends are fucked. Anyways, after that convo, we had decided that getting back together was not going to work out after all. And don't get me wrong, she was a great gal, super cute, hit all my sexy buttons. If I had jumped into a regular job after college, that might have worked out. But I had to be honest with her and honest with myself. It didn't feel right to just kill the musician dream before it even started. Anyway, we said goodbye and we went our separate ways. And a few years later, she actually reached back out to see how I was doing. I knew we were only going to be friends, so I kept it platonic. She actually told me how she met a dude shortly after our coffee date, and they dated for a couple of years before he too went a different direction in life. I told her about all the tours and albums I was on, and at the end of the conversation, we decided, you know what? It was for the best. Bottom line, our lives were no longer aligned. I made the choice to start pursuing the musician thing, and it worked out. And I'm still glad I did that, even though it was hard for the both of us to separate. Moral of the story, boys, be honest with her and do not change your plans to suit what she wants. Part of reigniting the romance and talking about the possibility of getting back together is figuring out if you guys will mesh again. It's the two of you deciding if it's going to be a good fit. If you think she will fit into your new badass plans, fantastic. She may even offer to support you in those ways. There's also a really good chance that she will be excited that you're making moves to elevate your own life. And remember, boys, one of the most attractive things to the feminine is a man who is working hard to elevate his life. As far as the relationship part, like fixing things that were broken, ask her where she thinks things went wrong. Don't get defensive, just listen to her and ask open-ended questions. You are gathering as much information as possible. Make sure you fully understand where she says you fell short. Decide for yourself if those things make sense to you and tell her what you can agree to work on. What I mean by this is sometimes you'll get something like, oh, I don't like how you spent so much time working on your car. I feel like you took care of that car way more than you took care of me. Most of the time, boys, the issue is not the thing. The issue is the emotion. In this case, the emotion is that she's feeling sad when you're working on the car and not hanging out with her. But you love working on your car. It's part of who you are. It helps you relax. And that's just you doing your manly, badass thing. So it is an important part of your life that you're not willing to let go. And instead of acquiescing and just saying, oh, okay, I'll sell the car, help her fill that void in other ways instead. Remember, she feels sad. So come up with another way to make her feel happy and loved. Anything you can think of, get creative with her. It can be fun. In fact, it should be fun. At that point, you will have shown you that you are the leader of your own life and you're willing to figure out if a new relationship will work out for you with her fitting into it. Either way, the two of you will both have some clarity having spent some time apart. And at this point, I can't really tell you what the magic pill will be to restart the relationship. The two of you have to decide that for yourselves. Everyone's situation is different, so be honest with her and yourself when you're determining how the two of you can mesh in harmony again. All right, we're going to pull the afterburners and begin our descent here. We've covered a lot, and it may have brought up some uncomfortable feelings, but I want you to know that you are in a great position right now, guys. Acquiring information like this and taking action on what makes the most sense to you puts you in a great spot. If you were an artist, what's the one thing you need to start painting a new picture? A new blank canvas, right? Well, guess what? Your ex gave you that new canvas when she left. So now you get to decide how you want the rest of your life to look. And this isn't to say that you should be thinking, haha, sucks for her. I'm going to show her what she's missing and I'm going to make her regret breaking up with me. While she may come to that realization eventually, the right mindset is, okay, well, she ended things and she closed the door. All I have to do is just try my best to make the most of it and start painting what my future is going to look like. If she wants to come back and be part of that picture, awesome. If not, no worries. And you start rebuilding despite what she decides to do. This is your time, boys. Take it from me after being caught in that chit-chat after my cycle time and time again. Your future self is not built on trying to keep her in your life if she won't commit to you 100%. Your future self is built on making moves to elevate your own life. Your future self is stronger, smarter, and more confident for having pushed through these uncomfortable feelings of growth and severing ties that no longer suit you. And that's basically it as far as getting back into contact. Quick recap, the steps are: break contact. Immediately refocus on rebuilding your life. Decide for yourself with that list if you'd even take her back. If she reaches out and it's more than just a logistical thing, go for the date. If she says no, tell her to reach back out if she changes her mind. If and when she says yes, take the lead and take her out. On the date, keep it fun, flirty, and lighthearted, just like old times. And be honest with her and yourself in terms of what reigniting the relationship would look like for the two of you. All right, bringing us down for a smooth landing here. You are in full control of your decisions to become even more badass than you are. Regardless of who is in your life, your time and your energy need to be spent on that. Your time and your energy are your most valuable assets. Therefore, treat them as such. It wouldn't make sense to try and chase something or someone who doesn't want you. That is a waste of your time and your energy. And boys, always remember, whether you're dating a new chick in a relationship or fresh out of one, love is freedom. If you truly love her, you want her to be free. That means she is free to walk beside you, and she is also free to leave if she wants. The more you try to control love, the further away you will push it. If she goes, let her go. If she comes back, awesome. But in the meantime, keep rebuilding your life as if she won't come back. Believe me, it's much better to be pleasantly surprised by her reaching out than it is to be disappointed if you were hoping for it and she doesn't. Either way, boys, everything I talk about on this podcast is geared to turn you into a badass motherfucker. I can't promise that she will come back, but I can promise that you will look back on this time and be glad you made the decision to move on and start rebuilding. In fact, I can also promise that if your new relationship is your ex again, or even if it's a new chick, she will jump at the opportunity to be with you once she sees how badass you truly are becoming. Your future is filled with rewards that you haven't even dreamed of yet. And it all starts with you deciding where to put your energy and your time. I know that all of you are going to rebuild into a man you are proud of, and you will find yourself in a new loving relationship with a woman who is proud to walk beside you. I'm going to leave you guys with this quote from Ann Landers. Quote, "Some people believe holding on and hanging in there are signs of great strength. However, there are times when it takes much more strength to know when to let go and then do it." All right, boys, thank you for flying the Badass Express. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode. All right, some closing comments, boys. Some of the things that I taught in this episode are straight out of that book that I've mentioned before, How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne. Always give credit where credit is due. So in the meantime, if you really want to learn about how attraction works, read that book as many times as you can. And once you crack that book open, you'll know what I mean by that. And no, Corey Wayne is not paying for me to say this. He doesn't even know I exist. This podcast is fully self-funded by me, and it's going to stay that way. Once again, that book is How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne. Thank you for joining me in another badass episode, brother. If you want to accelerate into this new chapter in your life and get a boost into your badass journey, sign up for a free 45-minute consultation for post-breakup or divorce coaching. All the info is in the episode description. Also, please remember to like and comment. And if you know anyone who could use this info in their badass journey, please share this episode with them. None of this will be possible without you guys. So thank you again, and I will see you in the next episode.